Is there any is there any general advice that you would be helpful for bar restaurant people, owners, managers to start to try to think in an innovator through an innovator lens, look at their business rather than just like a whack-a-mole get through the day lens?
I mean, I definitely can relate to the whack-a-mole side for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, that's just the nature of small business ownership, right? Well,
Yeah.
I'm probably not in a place to speak to how a bar or restaurant runs their business because I've never done it, or even how they innovate. But
Hmm.
I can speak to just like maybe there's some parallels if I just explain kind of some things that we've done.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, people, maybe someone will grab a little gem from something that we've done. So our business is like traditionally it's pretty old. Not the
Hmm.
fact that we've been around since '55, just the industry in general, and it's relatively archaic in systems and processes, right? Like when I first came, when I first bought the store, it was, orders were just on the backs of envelopes, and there really was no inventory system, and um, there was no, we didn't really use any data. The previous owner didn't really use any data to drive any decisions. And I love the idea as a small business owner of finding a way to carve out time for yourself and your staff to figure out, even if it's the smallest data point you can find on how to collect something and how to not just go anecdotally. Because
Yeah.
I made some decisions early on where I had comments from customers or comments from staff that were truly anecdotal, right? And then I run with the comment a little bit and I think, all right, should I make a change there based on what I just heard? And a lot of times I made that change, but I really didn't have all the data. I didn't really have all the information. So I think I've just learned over the last 4 years to slow down a little bit on how quickly we make decisions. Like, yes, there is obviously some urgency to stay competitive, but the difference between 2 weeks is probably not all that different. If you take
Yeah.
2 weeks and think, all right, let me carve this some time out, let me figure out how to get a little bit of information about said problem or about what I saw another restaurant doing. Oh, that's a good idea. you know, Jumping into it sometimes is great because you can learn, but I think you can really mitigate risk by just gathering as much information as you can. So, like an example for us is we had a local ice cream shop approach us about they didn't have a brick and mortar. They were in a kitchen, in a
Okay.
shared kitchen, and it's one of the best ice creams in Philadelphia. They just do pints and pop ups. They have a shop now, but for a while they didn't have a shop. And they the owner reached out to me and said, you have a delivery team. Like, how do you? I need a delivery team because I need to deliver ice cream all around the city.
Right.
And we thought to ourselves like, all right, we have an asset here. We built this delivery team. It was just kind of the beginning of it, to be honest. Maybe the first year of having a delivery team. I just turned it to her eventually and said, after the first couple conversations, said, I don't think you should build your own delivery team. Maybe you should just leverage us. We become
Hmm.
your third party logistics, service provider. Orders come in through your website. I'm sure we can set up a little link between your website and our project management or operations software, and then we execute your orders for you. So we become
Hmm.
like your delivery arm. So we are essentially like the DoorDash or the Uber Eats for this ice cream shop. We're
Nice.
the third party delivery team. So now that's not going to apply to restaurants and bars per se, but like the idea of, okay, I'm already running a business. I already have, maybe some labor installed. I already have some systems. I have some processes. Is there other ways where I don't add a major load to my team or I don't add something that's, a big lift for the business,
Right.
but I can potentially bring in other additional revenue with systems and processes and infrastructure I already own and I already
Yeah.
have. So that's like, for me, that was a really easy thing for us because, beer deliveries are not coming in, every 10 minutes, 7 days a
Right.
week. We have busy times when deliveries are coming in and we have busy days and deliveries are coming in. And then we have, days where some people want ice cream in between those times or they want ice cream on that same route or they want ice cream with their beer.
Right.
So, for us, it made a lot of sense to just,
Yeah.
to just dovetail these things. And then it completely harkens back to like what I've been talking about a lot on our call, which is this community feel, right? This is a small batch. craft, hyper premium, super premium ice cream shop that doesn't have a
Right.
brick and mortar that wants to spread like the love of their ice cream all over the city that we love. It was like, okay, no, that's a no-brainer. That is
Yeah,
obviously us.
that's great.
We are the same people. So let's
Uh-huh.
do this. So, back to your question about like what advice do I have? I mean, I don't know if I'm in a place to offer advice to bars and restaurant owners, but the idea of utilizing infrastructure you already have to think, you know, in an innovative way about how you can potentially bring in additional revenue,
Yeah.
or provide additional services, I think is just an interesting thing to consider. And then
And I
making
think,
sure that you gather information before you jump.
yeah, I've got a point on each one of those points. I think also related to the ice cream conversation is this idea that, like you had mentioned, it was something I almost said earlier in the call of like you start getting pull from something, from somewhere, from some like line of revenue, some revenue, possible revenue stream that you could open up. You get calls from a university. Okay, well, what other universities are there? What other departments? Whatever stuff. You get a call from an
Yeah,
ice cream distributor. It's like, okay, well, you get this pull, and we get this too at BeerMenus, where it's like, okay, like it seems clear that more people are interested in like our TV menus or something. Okay, then like it keeps happening, keeps happening. Okay, we
yeah,
need to invest more in that. Which goes right into the point that I had about collecting data. It's something that we were definitely guilty of years ago, like a few years ago at this point, of a customer would call in with an idea or with a problem. Maybe, and we would be like, I think that uh, barley wine should be grouped as like this kind of beer, not this kind of beer. And then we'd like do it, but then that would screw everything up for everybody else. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because it's like
yeah. I've been
a global change. And so
there.
it's just like
Yeah,
now we have our own systems in place where it's like, okay, we're tracking as product requests come in, and we have like a database situation set up so that we can just like look back and be like, okay, over the last 6 months, this many people have requested this kind of thing. So we
right.
can invest in it. We're not going to like chase something down for 2 weeks and then like
Yeah,
plug one hole in the dam only for like 15 more to open when we
yeah,
do
I'm
that.
with you on that. And also, like the same thing goes for me with that same point, especially for bars and restaurants. Is like talk to your people, right?
Hmm.
You know, it's easy for Eric to make decisions in a bubble. He's your boss. He runs the start of the company, and he says, "Oh, this is the direction we're going to go." It's easy for me to do that too,
Yeah.
and it's usually dumb. Like you should be talking to the people that are doing the work.
Yeah.
If I'm making changes to how my distributors go out there and they serve as accounts, we call them distributors. These are the guys that are moving the beer around, delivering to bars and
Sure.
restaurants. That's their job title. Um, I don't make any changes to anything they do without all of them.
Right.
And I say, here's what I'm thinking. I'm seeing something happening. We keep getting checks for the subtotal instead of the total. Because the total's in the back of the invoice. Something silly. But
Right.
I could be like, oh no, we need to change it. And then I talk to them. I understand the problem in a deeper way, and
Mm.
that for me and for any other bar, restaurant, or beer store owner, you're bogged down with a million things. But if you can make the time to talk to your people, usually like the solutions kind of like present themselves. To be honest.
Yeah, and a lot of times like the problem that you hear from someone isn't actually the problem. Like for the
Yeah.
barley wine example,
Yeah.
it wasn't like particularly like I wanted this to be organized this way. It ended up being I wanted to be able to organize all of my beers my way. You know what I mean? Like
Totally,
if you
completely different ask.
yeah, but like it starts at the one place, and like our customers, the bars and restaurants are so busy, they're just like whacking their own moles. And so
Yeah.
they see
No
something,
question.
they feel they get like a paper cut going through our product, and they email us about that paper cut. But then you start pulling on the thread, and it turns out like it's this whole different thing.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's a good lesson for kind of any of us working in a,
yeah,
a
totally.
smaller business. Um, yeah, that's good.
And
It's a
in
really good point. I like that.
life, I think in life
And life.
too. You
Sure.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
having a
plenty of
convers
parallels.
yeah, you're having a conversation with your wife about something, and then like or your kid or your dad or something, and it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, this is okay, Dad, this is actually about you not seeing your grandson enough. It isn't about like
Sure.
me cooking the eggs in the bacon.